that brings me into a topic I wanted to talk about, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Justin. Yeah.
Okay.
Here at the 17-24-minute mark of the show.
Oh, okay.
I got an email from someone the other day when I talked about, or on my hotline I did the profile on Brock Lesnar.
Right.
And someone wrote me.
I like that new feature.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Someone wrote me the other day and said, I have an issue with Brock Lesnar because I don't think he loves the business, was what the person wrote. And, I've heard that a lot. I heard it with CM Punk. He's not a guy that loves the business, so I have a hard time, supporting CM Punk since he walked away. And it really brought
if CM Punk walked away, he doesn't need anybody to support him.
No, but the point is, that people feel like some people feel like they got screwed basically by CM Punk, by him walking away because he owed me. And you with your reaction to The Rock and not showing up, when he was hurt, and you didn't know at the time he was hurt, but you thought that no matter how hurt he was, he should have showed up at the Raw after WrestleMania.
There should have at least been a promo or something cut explaining why he wasn't there. And I'll still argue that point, that when you have 22,000 people who sell out an arena, specifically expecting to see one of your top-tier talents, and they're not there, it's one thing if there's a family emergency or something, but if they knew the night before he was hurt, it would take them 30 seconds to get the camera in the room and have him cut something.
He was on his way back to Miami. But my point is this. So even you feel that way about at times about people.
I feel that way, that if an audience is paying for something, they deserve to get it. And if you don't make it up to them...
Card subject to change.
Card subject to change is a really lazy crutch that promoters in 2014 shouldn't be hiding behind.
Yeah, but in the case of The Rock, I totally disagree. The man had serious abdominal problems that needed immediate attention. And let's be real, he's a movie star first. But the point I'm getting at in all this, people say, Brock Lesnar, I wrote the other day, I don't like him, I can't respect him because he doesn't love the business. Now, first and foremost, I don't know how much Brock loves the business. Obviously, he doesn't love it the way Justin Roberts did, growing up, and I can't wait to be in the business and all. But after seeing Justin Roberts get fired, after seeing Daniel Bryan, get fired for using the tie, ironically, on Justin Roberts.
That's true. I forgot about that.
And, I see how many other people have, WWE wishes you best in your future endeavors. They don't get a chance. I say to you, Mike Johnson, does the business even love them back? Look at all the TNA guys that got cut loose. Sorry, our inefficiency as a management team has kept us from being able to afford to pay you, AJ Styles. So we're offering you this great deal where you'll get 40% less. Why won't you take it? I say to you, why should these people have blind loyalty to TNA and WWE when it's not reciprocated?
Well, they shouldn't, but I think from the point of view of the wrestling fan is these performers should have blind loyalty for me because I want to see them and I want to pay to see them. And I think what you're describing and what that reader said were two different things. You're talking about should performers in the business love the business, and the reality is there are people who get into the wrestling because they're passionate about it. It becomes something that they're enamored with as a fan and they fall in love with whatever it is, the athletics, the drama, the over-the-top hyperbole, the pyro and ballyhoo, whatever it is, the craziness of it. And they become passionate about it. And what's happened for a generation of wrestlers that grew up diehard wrestling fans who loved the business is a lot of them have traveled that yellow brick road and they've gotten to WWE or they've gotten to TNA and they've realized that not only is the wizard not home like in the movie, but there is no Emerald City. It's just you went over the fence and it's just like the other side of the fence. And what they've realized is the wrestling world that they've envisioned where if they work hard, they become huge and they work hard and they have great matches and they do what's asked of them, they'll be rewarded. That's not the way wrestling works. In sports,
my take on this,
in sports, if you bust your ass and you hit a bunch of home runs, you're going to be a pretty proficient, big Major League Baseball star. In wrestling, the guy who takes the best bumps, who cuts the best promos, who has the best matches, unless somebody decides, you know what, I see something in him, you're not necessarily going to be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. All right?
And that's the entertainment aspect of WWE, which is understandable.
Right,
but that's not what I'm getting at. The point that I'm getting at, and we'll talk about what rights the fans have too. I am talking about if you are looking at a guy as a fan, not how that guy feels about you. Does he love the business? Like Brock Lesnar, I think if you ask me, does he love the business? I'd probably say no.
I think Brock probably enjoys performing, but I think he enjoys getting paid a premium to perform more than he's like, can't wait to get in the ring. You know, I don't think he's like that.
He's not gonna say, yeah, I'll work 300 days a year. And that's something else people don't understand. Being on the road this weekend, whoever the Einstein is in WWE events, they're going to Montreal, Quebec City, then to Kansas. Think about that loop. And then, of course, they have the Raw and SmackDown are both in Kansas as well. And the other group, they're on Saturday, they're in Mexico City. Sunday, they're in Monterrey. Monday, they're in Kansas.
And that was supposed to be a longer tour, too. They were supposed to go to Ecuador and Colombia, and then those dates were pulled before they were ever announced.
That is not a fun way to spend a weekend. So what I'm saying is this. If I am a worker, and you just made a good point, like if I am Dolph Ziggler, for example, or better case, Damien Mizdow, because Dolph at least has a token title right now. Damien Sandow was a guy that came up, very big, good shape, good worker, can talk, and they made a joke out of him from the beginning. And now, he's found, he was doing those, I'm this guy from your town this week, I'm this guy, and now he's found like some kind of comedy gold in the Mizdow character, and he was hilarious on Raw.
I agree completely.
Yeah. So, if, like you said, he's this guy that's done everything right, put himself in a position to be used and hasn't been used. So why, as a worker, should I love the business when the business doesn't love me? And I'm talking about the business, not from the fans' point of view. Why should they?
Listen, at the end of the day, the goal of any professional wrestler should be to get into wrestling, make the most money they can, and make as much as you can and be as prominent as you can while knowing you only have a certain amount of time on your body before it starts breaking down. And the goal should be walk out with a bunch of dollar signs and hopefully your body completely intact. Other than that,
so that is my part one of that. And you're right. That should be your goal.
And also right now, Ric Flair.
Do they owe the fans is part two.
Okay.
Because with the fans, I get the point of view that you perform for me, but does CM Punk really owe you anything? Because to me it's real easy for the fans to say, I followed you, I helped make you. And that's true, because if the fans aren't cheering for you, then Vince isn't going to push you.
And this happens with music, too, when a band goes and explodes beyond a certain level and then becomes a huge pop culture icon. There are people who are like, Metallica's not as good as they used to be. Because it's not that garage band anymore. Playing in the small little club, they're playing stadiums and they're icons, and there's a different sort of level of understanding, and it's like, oh, these people are just jumping on board the fad. I was there in the old days when, it was special. People always do that stuff about anything.
But again, I'm going back to trying to get my point out here tonight. I'm trying to say this. They don't owe you anything. They owe you what they give you. But when you look at a Rock, when he's torn his abdomen and and he needs hernia surgery, when you look at CM Punk, who's in pain every day because he's straight edge and he doesn't take any kind of drugs, I say Steve Austin walks away. Oh, why? Or Edge walked away, but why? He owed me a last match. But yeah, he could be paralyzed if he takes a bump the wrong way.
I don't think anybody said that about Edge.
I heard some people say that he owed us one last match.
Really?
I've heard people say. Yep. I've heard people say that.
People can be callous.
So to me, it's like this. I get what you're thinking, and yes, if you're the fan, you helped make the talent, no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, you don't know what's going on in their heads. You don't know what kind of pain CM Punk was in. You don't know, in his mind, he was telling his friends, once my contract ends in June, I'm done. So if you don't like where you're going, you're in pain, you don't want to wrestle Triple H, you could argue, yeah, he had a contract, he should fulfill it. But by the same token, WWE puts those 90-day out clauses in everybody's contracts so that I just signed a 3-year deal, right? Mm. And WWE during the out clause 6 months in says, yeah, we want to get rid of him. They wish me my best in future endeavors. So, yes, that was a clause in the contract, but the intention when we both signed was for me to stay for 3 years, and now I'm gone. So, the door swings both ways on this, and I really think that fans have to take a step back and look at it from the other perspective sometimes, and I don't think they do.
No, fans don't. I mean, you know what? Fans are just, they're looking at it from the emotional connection of, I'm paying my money, entertain me. I don't care about anything else. I don't care if you have a broken toe. F you, entertain me. I'm paying you to entertain me. I worked my ass off for you to have the privilege of you entertaining me, and it's your job to entertain me.
And the irony is, the vast majority of the fans don't pay anything. They watch Raw and USA, and up to 1 million of them by WrestleMania, 1.2 it used to be, and that's worldwide, out of, you figure worldwide they have at least 10 million fans. So at the end of the day, the vast majority of these people saying, you owe me, aren't putting any money in their pocket anyway, other than watching USA.
Hard to argue that.
Rockstar Spuds just tweeted that he's out of a job, Mike Johnson.
Yeah, well, let's hope he's not starting